good evening, everyone. Great to see everybody. About 5 minutes ago, I said, wow, not really a good turnout, but man, you guys showed up, so good for you. My name is Greg Hattis, and this here is me. For the people at home who might be watching this later. Tonight is such a special night. I tell the students when they come in, every time we have an assembly in this room, we're not going to pull you out of class or something silly, but when we gather in this space, it's really important, and this certainly is an important night. I want to say welcome to the students, future Falcons. I hope you're excited about coming to Fairfield Level High School. We're very excited to be having you. And a lot of times when I'm going to be talking to you guys tonight. You know, your parents, they'll just figure it all out as they go. But you're the ones that I really am interested in getting to know and addressing tonight. Because this is a big transition, right? Going to high school. And parents, one of the things, I am going to give you a homework assignment. And that homework assignment is sometime between now and August. I want you to think back on your high school years. I want you to think back about the friends you made, the teachers you had, the things you learned, and how did that influence you? How did that change a trajectory for you? What spark was ignited that you followed through later? Or what did you learn that you never used again for the rest of your life? Right? Because we all experienced that. Tell those stories. Because high school is incredibly exciting. And for those of you around my age, and I have a child who's a senior in high school, a daughter and a son who's a sophomore, so I'm living the dream just like you are. It's a very different place than when we went to school. So for kids, for students here, that's exciting for you because there is so much available to you. It's going to feel, for some parents, like a college experience. And now we're trying to push college on anybody, but just in terms of opportunity, it's amazing. So it's getting warm in here, so why don't we get rolling? Tonight's agenda, we're going to talk about the way we organize ourselves. It's called the house system, and if you haven't had a child here, that might be helpful for you to know about. It is something that Fairfield has had for many, many generations, something that we're very proud of here because we think it's a better system for students. The course selection process that's coming up, starting for you soon, new graduation requirements, sample schedules, so you understand how that works, how we're going to support you, Falcons, and opportunities beyond the classroom that we have, and finally end up with our elective options. It looks like a lot of stuff, right? Well, I know, really, for parents, you just want to know, what do I really need to know to get to me to tomorrow, because you've got a million things going on. And students, am I going to like it here? That's what matters. And I hope that tonight you get to answer those questions, especially. So after this informational session, we're going to get you out of here hopefully in about half an hour, have you take some tours of our elective areas, because that's the next big decision that you have to make in terms of starting in high school. So we'll go through all of that. Just to ground us a little bit, what's going to happen between now, this moment in time, and the day you walk across that graduation stage in June of 2027, you're going to become these things. That is our goal. And you're already learning a lot of that now, but when we talk to businesses, when we talk to colleges, these are the things that they're looking for. So that's how we have created our entire curriculum around getting you to be these things. So here's the house system. Basically, we take everybody and we divide you up into 3 sections. There's Warner House, there's Webster House, and there's Wright House. And those are the 3 names. But the reason why we have houses, it creates a smaller community within the school, which allows us to keep track of everybody a little bit more carefully. So every house has a house principal, a dean who handles the attendance and discipline, and also there are 3 counselors, and every student who's assigned a counselor stays with that counselor for all 4 years, and that house office, for you parents, instead of having to call the big main office where we oversee 1,500 students, you get to call the house office, who will get to know your child probably a little bit quicker and also more intimately. So the reason why the house system is so important is because it creates a better sense of connection, it creates a sense of a smaller community, provides more efficient oversight of students, there's fewer people overseeing fewer numbers of students, and it provides better access to support system for both the students and the parents. Our counselors are the backbone of our school. They allow, because they have lower caseloads, they are really able to keep track of things, personalize your experience. You basically get a one-on-one counselor for college, the college process, for navigating high school, friend problems. It's an amazing system, so we're really proud of it. These three folks you will get to know as well. They are here in the building. They are helping manage our course tonight, but those are the house principals. Mr. Colley in Warner, Dr. Pugliese in Webster, and Ms. Raven in Wright House. So when you see them out and about, please say hello. Now let's talk about how things are going to happen between 8th grade and 9th grade. So I don't know if it's happened yet, but students, have you gotten your program of studies in hand yet? I thought I saw some of you carrying it in. That's great. So, so you should get that. What we do is we take our massive program of studies that we have, and we whittle it down to just the things that are relevant to grade 9. So when you go on our website, you will see both are available for you, but please, you can focus on just that one. And by the way, if you have the handout, one of the things you'll notice is in the bottom left-hand corner of the slides, sort of help you, stay connected to what we're talking about. So when I talked about the house system, which was on page 2, you can see how it's all spelled out with each of the house principals and the different counselors. This, the timeline is all spelled out for you on page 3. So you can take this home, keep it. It's going to be available to you online as well. So will the slideshow, so you can always come back to learn more about it. So sometime in the next week or so, around February 9th, what's going to happen is that the grade 8 teachers will be entering their recommendations for the core classes that you're going to be taking in 9th grade. And when I say core, English, math, social studies, science, and world language. So the teachers will make that recommendation, and they will automatically put it into Infinite Campus, which is what we will use to create your schedules. If you disagree with those choices, those are conversations that you can have with your teachers down in 8th grade, as well as your 8th grade counselor. But the fun part for you will be when you get to create electives, or with the select electives. So based on these dates here, the high school counselors are going to be coming to visit your schools, and they are going to help you actually input your choices for electives into Infinite Campus. And that's a great time for you to be able to ask questions to the very folks who you'll be working with up here at the high school. Now at that time, you will not have your house assignment. That will come a little bit later, but all the counselors are very knowledgeable about everything else. And then on March 10th, once you get all of that inputted, it's going to get printed out. Parents, you're going to get a copy of it at home. You need to sign off on it. That's called the course verification form. Very important form because that is what we will use. That's the date that we start building our master schedule, which takes us all the way until August to do. But all of those recommended courses will be listed so that you know exactly what your children are signing up for, as if you didn't know already. So, but please pay extra attention to the letter that you will get from your middle school. Will tell you all the information that you need to know. So again, there's 2 steps to the process, students. Just to review real quickly, number 1 is that all your core classes will be entered by the teachers, and you'll be able to see those parents, so you'll know exactly what those are. And then the electives, which are the fun parts and all the different departments that you see listed there, like art, business, FCS, and music, on and on. You get to choose those, and then our counselors will come to you, and you get to put those in. So you got to decide what you want before those dates when our counselors are coming to you. And again, that is all spelled out for you on page 3. Page 4 and page 5 are very important for you because you can see exactly what courses that you will have available. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about how we label courses. So college preparatory is our standard grade level. It is, as it says, it will prepare every student to be successful for anything that happens after high school. Whether you had to go to a 4-year college, a 2-year college, whether you enter the military service, whether you get a job, we prepare you with a great education. The honors level is an accelerated pace, but it also has expectations for skills and content that are above grade level. So for some students that you'll be talking with your teachers in 8th grade about that. If you're recommended for an honors class, just know that the expectations will be a little bit higher. Later, when you start to be a sophomore and then on to junior and senior year, you have advanced placement courses, which are basically college level courses and can help you in the college process later in terms of getting credits. And then we also have something called early college experience courses, which they are actually designated as credit at a university like UConn or possibly one of our local community colleges that you can transfer to other colleges if you do apply there. So let's talk a little bit more. Well, I kind of explained this as we went, so just to keep it up there, one important factor about understanding the different levels is to think about your time outside of class. So think of it this way. We'll explain our block schedule in just a minute, but our classes meet either 2 or 3 times a week. We only have 4 periods a day, so if you have a class on Monday, you'll have it on Wednesday and Friday. It's on Tuesday, it'll be on Thursday. Ms. Montorsi is going to explain the schedule in just a minute. But you have about an hour of homework for the college prep level per course. So if you have, per class. So if you have 2 classes a week, you'll probably get about 2 hours of homework, 3 classes a week, 3 hours of homework. Now multiply that times all of your courses, all of your core classes, and if you're honors, that's double, and if it's AP later on, that's almost triple. So that sounds like a lot of time. But these are things that we really ask you to think about when you pick the levels of your courses. If you know you're going to play soccer or field hockey, if you know you're going to try out for the musical, if you know maybe you're going to get a job or you work now, for a relative that you help out. You got to take all of that into account when you're thinking about your schedule. So I want to turn to the packet now because I think that this is going to be really helpful for you to just understand what options are going to be available. On page 4, you will see in English, for instance, you have either an honors level or a college prep level, and those are the only 2 choices. In math, we have a new course next year. We're offering algebra honors as well as algebra college prep. So if you're in pre-algebra now, you will have those 2 courses that the teachers will recommend you for. If you're in algebra now, you can go into either geometry honors or geometry college prep. In science, everyone takes biology honors or college prep. And in social studies, everyone takes global studies, either of the 2 levels. In world language, if you've started one already, you can continue. If you haven't started one already, then you have a world of choices. You have Spanish, you have French, Italian, Latin, Mandarin, and now we are offering American Sign Language. So we're very excited about that. It was a very popular course. This was our first year, and we filled 5 sections of it. Almost 120 kids had signed up for it. So then is when you get into the electives, and those electives we're going to be talking about a little bit more later. So we'll come back to that. But if you turn to the next page, if you look at, looks like page 5, looks like a big table. That's the actual document that you'll be filling out. So what you can see is when you're looking at all the different elective choices, and these are just the ones that are open to you. We tend to open up even more when you get to be at your sophomore, junior, and senior year. That's why that program of studies is so important, because you could read the specific description of the courses. And tonight, as you walk around, you'll get to see some of those spaces to give you a visual of what it would be like to be in that class. Okay? So up here on the slide, as well as on page 6 in the handout, that is the contact information of all of the curriculum leaders. So if you have a question, like you're wondering whether you should do an honors or a college prep, or if you're wondering about a particular elective and whether you get into a particular program or something that's really specific that you know about, please feel to reach out. Email is probably the best way to reach them, but the curriculum directors and coordinators are there for you as a resource. So now I'd like to introduce somebody very important to our school. This is Ms. Vanessa Montorsi. She is the director of People Services and Counseling, and she works with all the school counselors. She works with the psychologists and social workers. She helps build our master schedule. She's just and helps the whole college process all throughout. She puts on great programs. Check when you get here. Make sure you see her emails and the newsletter that she puts out from her office. It's chock full of great information. And Vanessa's going to walk you through some other important aspects to our program. So, Ms. Montorsi.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks, everybody. It's great to be here with you tonight. So students in the audience, to progress from grade level to grade level in elementary school and middle school, you're used to have to pass your classes, and that's how you move forward. In high school, it's slightly different. So not only do you have to pass your classes, but you actually have to earn credits in your classes as well. And in our classes here, you can see how you earn classes. So for a full year course, you earn 1 credit per class. For a half-year class, you'll earn a half a credit. And the reason that the amounts vary is because it's based on the amount of time that you're in that class. So the more time you're in that class, so for a full year, you're going to get 1 credit. For a half-year class, you'll get that quarter credit. We require students to enroll in a minimum of 6.5 credits a year. And at the end, in order for students to graduate here, they must have at least 25 credits to graduate. So if there's any brave soul in the audience, if you take 6.5 credits, which is the minimum amount, you multiply that by 4 over 4 years, what number do you get? Yes, 26. We got a lot of brave people in the audience tonight. Awesome. So the reason I'm telling you that is I don't want you to be so nervous that, oh my gosh, I've got to get at least 25 credits to graduate. No worries. You have to at least take 6.5 per year. So as long as you're passing your classes, you're going to meet that minimum requirement. The most amount of credits you can take in a year, though, is 8. And we'll talk a little bit about that and what those different schedules can look like. How you're going to earn your credits is they need to be divided up into different categories. And this is the next slide that I'm going to walk you through briefly. Hopefully it's not too intimidating for you, so I'm going to break it down for you. So at the top of the screen, you're going to see a subject area and the number of credits that students have to earn in them. We kind of call them buckets here. So students have to earn a certain amount of credits in certain buckets. So in the humanities area, you can see students need to earn 9 credits. Specifically, they need to earn 4 credits in English, 3.5 in social studies, and then additional 1.5 credits. So for English, no worries. A student takes English every single year. You multiply that by 4, there's your 4 credits, so they're automatically going to be there. Social studies, they're going to take a full year every year. Up until senior year, they're going to take a half-year course. And then they need an additional 1.5 credits. And they can get those through their electives area. In the area of STEM, you need 9 credits in that area. For math specifically, a student needs 3 credits. In science, they would need 3, and then additional STEM credits, they need another 3. Again, for the majority of our students here, they're going to take 4 years of math. They're also going to take 4 years of science. So there's 8 credits right there, and then students will gain those additional STEM credits in maybe other science areas, or math classes, or some of our elective areas like technology. Below that, you can see PE and wellness, health and safety. Those are both 1. Students are automatically enrolled for both phys ed and health, all 4 years. There's your 2 credits. For world language, every student that graduates from Fairfield Public Schools needs to earn 1 world language credit. And it's okay if you don't feel like you want to become orally proficient in another world language. Maybe that's just not for you, and that's okay. So we have a 1 credit course. It's an Introduction to Culture course that students can take. I would say, though, don't want to really talk college right now because you're just coming into high school, but if you are a student that you think you're going to a 4-year school after high school, the majority of colleges do want you to have a minimum of 2 years of the same world language. That's all I'm going to really talk college tonight. I just want to let you know. So, high school graduation, you need one. If you're looking for a four-year college, the majority of them want at least two, if not more, depending on the selectivity talk. We'll talk about that when you get to be juniors. Other elective areas. Students need another 3 credits there. Half of that has to be in an art class or a vocational class. And then this last piece is that mastery-based diploma. A student needs to earn 1 credit in that, and it's split up into 2 half credits. That first one is that content experience, which comes from a state test score. An SAT, a PSAT. Students will have the opportunity to take that all 4 years of high school. And then the last piece, that skills. It's an academic expectations half-year credit. These are skills that are embedded into the curriculum. Students naturally are exposed to these, and then that's how they earn that additional half credit. So when you total up, you get 25 credits. The majority of our students are graduating with more than that. So on that course verification sheet, Dr. Hatz has talked a little bit about. It's a very useful tool. It's actually on our website. Students will get a hard copy of that when they meet with the high school counselors in a few weeks. What we really tried to do with the sheet is spell out how many credits the students want to take, and with that, because we always get the question, how can I make sure I get a study hall, at least one a semester? Or I don't want any studies at all. How many credits do I need to enroll in? So this is what that explanation is. So for a student, if they enroll in 6.5 credits, they will have a study hall for 1 period all year long, every other day, and then they will also have a study hall for 1 period, 1 semester. So for 1 semester, they're going to have a study hall twice. If a student signs up for 7 credits, which we feel is best for the majority of 9th graders, some might need a little less, some might need a little bit more, it's up to you, but the majority of our incoming 9th graders do enroll in about 7 credits. They're going to have a study hall every other day for a year. 7.5 credits, they'll have a study hall for 1 period for only 1 semester, and if a student signs up for 8 credits, they will not have a study hall at all. Okay. And here's a sample freshman schedule, and I know it says 7 to 8 credits. I'll explain that in just a second. So on the left-hand side, you can see semester 1, period. So we have a 4-day rotational schedule. So we have day 1 and day 3, and then day 2 and day 4. So day 1 and day 3 is always the same. Day 2 and day 4 is always the same. You're probably asking, why do you have 4 days if day 1 and day 3 are the same and day 2 and day 4 are the same? It's for other scheduling issues, so don't worry about that, but we have 4 days. So for this student, they have English 9, which is a 4-year course. This particular student has a study hall or maybe a learning center, which is part of their IEP. Every student will automatically have homeroom after 2nd period. This student has Spanish 3 coupled with lunch. So a lot of times students are going to say, well, when do I get to eat? You will eat sometime period 3, and the lunch wave you're assigned to will depend on your period 3 class. And then this period 4 is global studies. For day 2 and day 4, you can see the student has foundations in art, biology, homeroom, followed by web design, and then algebra 1. So you'll see that, and then we'll flip you to 2nd semester so you can kind of see how it dovetails a little bit. So you're going to see English 9 again, and English 9s are a full year course. Okay? This student has study hall again, Spanish, global study honors. The only difference here is health and phys ed. They're going to have that because it replaces foundations in art. And then they replace web design, which is a half-year class, with introductory to culinary. So this student has 7 credits if they're not in learning center. If they have learning center instead of study hall, it's an 8-credit schedule. That's why it's there, because the student is forced in the learning center, and they get credit for it. For those students that are looking to go into aquaculture school, the aquaculture school is in Bridgeport. So if you are a science person, it's science coupled with technology, is the aquaculture school. If you're interested in it, they actually have an open house coming up in March, so I highly suggest you go to that. We typically have about 50 to 60 students go to aquaculture every year, and they love it. So when they're at aquaculture, they're going to come here first, and we have a bus that will ship them out to Bridgeport, and they're at Bridgeport for periods 1 and 2. They will arrive back here a little after 10, about 10:15 in the morning, just in time. to go to homeroom. So our aquaculture students are always in the know. They're hearing our announcements. They can participate in activities on Wednesdays. And then they're going to take their English class, their global studies class, their world language class if they choose to take one, and then their algebra class. You're going to notice they don't have their science class because they're taking those all at aquaculture. And with that, I'll pass the mic back over to Greg.
So yes, 1,500 students, it sounds like a big place. There are bigger high schools in Connecticut for sure, but we're a large school. And one of the things that I think is on a lot of people's minds, especially these days, is how am I going to be safe? Now, safety has many different meanings. So first of all, there's the physical safety part, which is usually what comes to mind. And you can just see that, we have a slew of things that we do to maintain safety all during the day. It's a very, very secure building. We work very closely with the Fairfield Police Department and their school safety unit. And one of my favorite things that I like to point out to people is that one of the great things about the support that we get, that God forbid there should ever be an incident, the response rate will be 0 seconds because we have a police officer stationed here all day during the school day. So he's a super resource for us. In fact, we call him our student resource officer. And we have all of these things that we do to make sure students are physically safe. But we also want to talk about social, emotional, and academic safety. So between the school counselors I mentioned before, we have a counseling center, and all of these different services that you can see here. Last year we were designated as a no place for hate school through a lot of activities that we did to bring about diversity, equity, and inclusion, to also bring about awareness. We really preach that you have to be self-aware in order to be socially aware. So we work hard through our advisories and our health program and lots of different ways to help students sort of be introspective about setting a good falcon footprint, as we like to call it, and then also learn about other people so that it's all about relationships at the end of the day. So understanding how to foster relationships, which, as a skill going on, beyond high school, is, as we all know, so important at the next level, and as well as for the rest of our lives. So these are some of the things, and you can see here our Falcon Footprint Matters. That's our campaign. What that basically means is that, think about the impact of what you're doing. As you walk through life, you're going to leave footprints. What kind of footprints do you want to leave behind? And if you ignore that, that's when you get into trouble. But when you think about how much they matter, that's when you make the right decisions. So let's talk about some of the fun things beyond the classroom and ways to get connected, which is another way to feel really safe here. Look at all the different athletic choices that you have, 3 different seasons. If they list just a G or a B, that means it's either the boys or girls in that particular season. Golf is now a fall sport, which has moved from the spring, so that's one of the changes, but you can see all the different things that are there now. Those of you that are in ice hockey, as you know, we're still kind of in limbo about deciding. We might end up with 2 teams next year in Fairfield, or we might stay a co-op. Those are things that are still in the works to decide. If you want to play a fall sport, please fill out the registration permission online sometime this spring for the next fall, right? It's a little bit too early now, but on our webpage, just click on athletics. You will register for the sport you want to play. The coach will get your name and number and your email, and make sure you're contacted before the tryout dates. Make sure you get your physicals done. Don't wait, because you cannot step onto the tryout field. You will not try out if we do not have your physical. And every year, we have people saying, oh, it was so hard to get an appointment. And we know how hard it is even now, especially. So be cognizant. If you're going to play a sport, book your appointments. You can see the tryout dates there. And as I said, once you register, you'll be getting all that information about the where and when. Every Wednesday, we have a specially designated period in our day called the activity period. And that is where you can join clubs as students. These are just the tip of the iceberg. We have about 150 different clubs you can join. So whatever your interest is, and even if you can't find a club, you can actually start your own club with a group of students and an advisor. So there are just so many different ways for you to connect, and these are also leadership opportunities as you get to be a student as a junior or senior. So please check out, I think on the handout, we might even have the full listing so that you can be sort of blown away by all the different ones. Yes, 2 full pages in very small font, pages 10 and 11. Okay, just to wrap up now, how are we going to make this transition all happen? You can go check out electives on a virtual tour on our website. In late August, we have a special freshman information session that starts about a week before the first day of school, and we provided for you the new calendar, which was just approved by the Board of Ed recently. So you can look there that the first day of school is on Tuesday the 29th, so that preview day will probably be somewhere around August 22nd, but we'll email you over the summer to make sure you know that. And also on the 28th, that is a day that we bring only freshmen here. So the 22nd, that preview day, that's for parents and students. The 29th, students come. It's their first day, just 9th graders. They have the school to themselves. They run through their schedule. They learn the hallways. And then you can be ready for the first day when all the upperclassmen come on the 29th. So that's how that will all play out. So this date, I think, is wrong. Sorry about that. So that should be, that August 26th should be August 28th. We'll fix that in the PowerPoint. So on the website, I want you to look for the elective virtual tour. I'll just click on it real quickly so I can show you what it looks like. It's a web page. It's something that we made during COVID because you couldn't really get into all of the classrooms back then. There's a couple of videos at the beginning, just advice from Falcons who have gone through the process. And then you can, by department, business, art, acting, family consumer science, you can see a couple of slides that show you what the options are, but there's also a video that gives you a little snippet. If you don't get to one of those rooms on the tour tonight, you can definitely check it out here on the video. Okay, and then before I send you off on your tours, I'm just going to explain one thing. In order to kind of, so you're not here for hours and hours and hours and putting on thousands of steps, we broke the tour into 2 different versions. One has sort of a STEM-like focus, where we're gonna go to like the business labs, computer engineering. It has PE, video production, and tech education. So if you would like to do that one, go to the library, which when you come out here, you're gonna go to the right, and you're gonna go across the lobby into the door into the library. If you're into more of the arts type things, like acting, art, culinary, fashion, music, or preschool, we're going to ask you to go down to the cafeteria. So you're going to take a left out of the auditorium, walk down the hall, and go down the stairs, and you can follow the signs. So it's your choice tonight which one you want to go to. The Ludlow leaders will be there and ready to receive you in just a couple of minutes. You'll go on small groups. So I was going to offer you to answer some questions, but it sounds like it's getting a little too hot in here, so have a good night. Thank you.